My wife's ex-boyfriend was standing on my porch at 11 at night, completely alone, and the first thing I noticed was that he looked scared, not smug. That's not how these stories usually go. He was supposed to be confident. Instead, he looked like a man who'd made a mistake he couldn't undo. My name is Daniel Reyes. I'm 33 and I live in Sacramento with my wife, Elena. We've been married 4 years. That night started like any other Friday until my phone buzzed at 9:47 p.m. I'm with my ex tonight. Don't wait up. No explanation, no context, just that from Elena, who I thought was working a late shift at the hospital. I didn't call, I didn't panic. I opened my camera roll and found a photo from 3 years ago, before Elena and I were married. A photo of her ex, Preston, standing outside a courthouse in handcuffs, escorted by 2 police officers. I sent it back with no caption, just the photo. Within 4 minutes, my phone started ringing. Elena calling over and over. I let it go to voicemail 6 times before I finally understood what was happening. She wasn't panicking because I was jealous. She was panicking because I'd just proven I knew something she thought I'd never find out. By call 17, I stopped counting and just waited. An hour later, someone knocked on my door. I opened it expecting my wife. It was Preston, alone. No Elena. "We need to talk," he said, "before she gets here and makes this worse." I let him in, mostly because I wanted answers more than I wanted him gone. "That photo," Preston said, sitting stiffly on my couch. "Where did you get it?" "Public court records," I said. "I found it 2 years ago, back when Elena and I first got serious. I never told her I knew." "Knew what exactly?" "That you did 18 months for identity fraud. That you used Elena's social security number without her knowledge while you two were together, opened 3 credit cards in her name, and she spent a year rebuilding her credit before I ever met her." Preston's jaw tightened. "She told you that?" "No," I said. "She's never told me. I found the court records myself and decided not to bring it up unless I had to. I figured if she wanted me to know, she'd tell me eventually." This is where I need to explain something I hadn't told anyone, not even Elena. 6 months into our marriage, I noticed unusual charges on our joint account, small amounts recurring monthly, going to an address I didn't recognize. I quietly investigated for weeks before discovering it was a storage unit payment, set up years earlier, still under Elena's name from her relationship with Preston. I assumed it was left over from the fraud, some account he'd never closed. I let it go, until tonight when Elena texted that she was with him. "Why would she reach out to you now?" I asked. "After everything you did to her?" Preston looked down at his hands. "Because 2 weeks ago I found something in that storage unit. Something that isn't mine and isn't hers. It belongs to both of us, from before I went to prison. I called her because I didn't know who else to trust with it." "Trust with what?" Before he could answer, headlights swept across my living room window. Elena's car had just pulled into the driveway. Elena burst through the front door, mascara streaked down her face, phone still clutched in her hand. She froze when she saw Preston sitting on our couch. "Daniel, I can explain." "He already started," I said calmly. "Something about a storage unit, something that belongs to both of you." Elena's face went pale in a way I'd never seen before. She looked at Preston. "You told him?" "I had to," Preston said. "He already knew about the fraud charges. I figured he deserved to know the rest too." "The rest of what?" I asked, my voice sharper now. Elena sat down slowly across from me, hands shaking. "Before Preston went to prison, we were engaged. Briefly, before I even knew what he was doing with my identity." This part I genuinely didn't know. "We had a daughter," Elena whispered. "She was born premature. She didn't survive. I was 22. Preston was already under investigation, and everything happened within the same month. I buried my daughter and watched the father of my child get arrested in the same week." The room went completely silent. "I never told you," Elena continued, tears falling freely now, "because I didn't know how to separate that pain from everything else Preston did to me. I wanted a version of my past you'd never have to carry with me." Preston reached into his jacket and pulled out a small wooden box. This was in the storage unit. Her things, a blanket, photos from the hospital. I've had it locked away for years, too ashamed to give it back to her, too afraid she'd never speak to me again if I reached out. Elena stared at the box like it might disappear if she blinked. "I called him tonight," she said, turning to me, "because he texted me out of nowhere saying he found this. I panicked. I didn't know how to tell you about a daughter you never knew existed, so I said I was with my ex because I genuinely didn't know how else to explain where I was going or why. I sat there processing 4 years of marriage, suddenly aware of a grief my wife had been carrying completely alone. You didn't have to hide this from me, I said quietly. I know that now, Elena said. But grief like that, I didn't know how to hand it to someone without also handing them my worst mistake. Preston wasn't just my ex. He was the father of a daughter I never got to raise. Telling you meant telling you everything, all at once, and I was terrified you'd see me differently. I looked at Preston. The fraud, the prison sentence, none of that erases what you two went through together before it happened. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, Preston said, standing up. I just needed her to have this back. That's all I came here for. He set the wooden box gently on our coffee table and left without another word. We didn't stop him. Elena opened the box slowly, and inside was a tiny knitted blanket, a hospital bracelet, and photographs of a baby I'd never known about until that night. Her name was Mia, Elena said, voice breaking completely now. I've never said that name out loud to anyone in 6 years. I moved to sit beside her, and for the first time that night, I reached for her hand instead of my phone. You don't have to carry her alone anymore, I said. Not the grief and not the guilt about hiding it. We sat together until nearly 2 a.m, looking through photographs of a daughter who existed for only a few hours, but who Elena had carried silently for 6 years, believing her pain was too heavy to share with anyone, even the person she'd built a new life with. The photo I sent that night was meant to expose a lie. Instead, it uncovered a truth my wife had been too afraid to say out loud, one that had nothing to do with betrayal and everything to do with a mother who never stopped grieving, quietly, alone, because she thought that grief made her someone I couldn't love the same way. She was wrong. If you're carrying something you think is too heavy to share with the person who loves you, I hope tonight reminds you of something important. Real love isn't built on never having pain to hide. It's built on finally being brave enough to stop hiding it.